Hello everyone, here I am Vadel Sagar. Welcome to the part number 4 of the present chapter number 1 of 11th Science Physics. Today in this chapter number 1 we go with the very important topic of the chapter number 1. Not for the chapter number 1, for the physics scenario. We see in the day-to-day life we have a lot of kind of forces. Among those forces today we are seeing the fundamental forces in nature, because there is a too many forces are there, but among them those are the few of are named as fundamental forces. Other are a depending, it means derived forces it called, because comes from the fundamentals. Let us see our discussion start without wasting time. Fundamental forces in the nature, it is a fourth topic of the present chapter. Force is need to push, carry, throw object, anything. If you are seeing around you, if you are using during the watching this video, mobile or laptop, anything you are holding. If you are not hold, then you are if you want to hold this phone or laptop, you are applying a force on it. Otherwise, if you just remove your force, this is the fall under the gravity. This is also one of the force where the object is accelerating or going towards it, because the laws, our physics laws tells us that any body is moves on the directions of the force. Without force it cannot be even 1 centimeter can be shift. No, never. So this is the force is everywhere. Even if you have one atom, it is under the influencing of the force. एक पण फोर्स ना हो तो gravity is always there. Is it okay? And there is if the another charge is come into picture, then is repulsion force, Coulomb force, and all this is the scenario comes into picture. This is what I am showing the emoji through which you can able to understand gravitational force, tension force, magnetic force, attraction force, repulsion force. We always experience the impact of forces and hit us to the when we are in the merry-go-round. If you are just feeling, you just feel in the heartbeats and all that. Going from in this instinctive motion of a proper scientific concept of the force, let's start to the scientific conceptual. Earlier, the Aristotle think about the forces, which is completely going wrong sense. Exact mathematical fall on paper given off by the force is given by Isaac Newton. The correct motion and force is done by the Isaac Newton in the famous laws of motion, and is after that they're named as force of gravitation's attraction between the two body. In the macroscopic world, it means what you are seeing with your eyes, the world, it is having a lot of kind of forces apart from the gravitational force. It is encountering several kind of forces. Muscular force, this is the muscular force. I'm showing this way on which you can able to understand the muscular force. Anything you are doing with your body sense scenario, this is you are using your muscular force. The contact force between the two body, there is you are able to walk, you are able to run, anything which you are doing that you have a friction with your surface, then you can. So this is the contact forces. Force is the friction. The force extract by the compressed elongations of the spring of force, that is your spring force. Here I am showing that. And the force of buoyancy and viscous forces, if you are floating on water, if you are inside the water, you are under the pressure of water, that you may feel also. Those are the all a kind of the macroscopic fold which you feel on nari aankhe જોઈ શકાય એવા bodies ઉપર. Okay, so that force due to the surface tension of the liquid as so on. There are a lot of kind of forces and so on. Okay, now go for the microscopic world. There are also some forces which is a microscopic domain. When the microscopic domain, for your understanding, it is the electric and magnetic forces are nuclear force which is involving inside the atoms. And atoms is nothing but the combination of proton, neutron and electrons. So there the forces are among them are the nuclear force or interatomic forces or intraatomic forces. That is, you may aware about these things. But in general, I can say, in principle, this is a mean that the laws are forces. It is the forces are derived force, such as spring force, buoyancy, contact force, friction force, interatomic forces. But they are not independent forces. They are the combined with some other forces which is named as fundamental forces. The origin of those derived forces is very complex, but they are come from the fundamental forces. Those fundamental forces are only four in nature till our understanding goes. જ્યાં સુધી આપણી અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ જાય છે ફિઝિક્સમાં, there are four fundamental forces are there. First is gravitational force, which is very independent to the electromagnetic force. Second, which is third in the strong nuclear force within a nucleus of the our atom. Atom is also too big compared to the nucleus. Nucleus is a very tiny, we concluding in the Rutherford experiment. This is a strong nuclear force and this is a weak nuclear force. These are the four fundamental forces. From today's discussions are depending on the two forces, gravitational force and electromagnetic force. Apart from these two, which are discussed in next session. Okay, so let's start with the first one, which is a gravitational force, and that is I am using the background for you so you may aware about the where gravitational force is. Any body, not celestial objects or not a spacey object, I am showing you. Any body who has mass, they are under the gravitational force. How? Let me explain. This it is comes in 9th standard, so it is not new for you. As a physics standard student, you may aware about the gravitational force. The gravitational force is the force which is a mutually always attracting force. This is your MCQ. Between any two objects in a vertex of any their mass, if even though it is a electron latest mass ever 10 to the power minus 31, or is the sun mass or the solar system mass, they are the under the gravitational force. It is a universal force. This is a universal force. Anywhere in this universe it can be exist. It is a universal force. Every object experience this is the force due to the everything about in the universe. All object on earth, for example, experience of force gravity due to the under the earth. So you are on earth, so the all are object under the gravity of the earth. So you are under the gravitational force. In practice, the gravity is govern the motion. So if you want to see the force, the gravitational force, this is an example I can show you. The earth is revolving around the sun because of the gravitational force. Moon is revolving around the earth because of the gravitational force. Sun is revolving around the black hole of the center of the galaxy because of the gravitational force. All galaxies are apart from each other, going apart from each other. Expanding of the universe is due to the gravitational force. These are all the reasons I am showing you, which are the existence of the gravitational force. This is what I said. Artificial, yes. The satellites also revolving around you. One ISS we have, International Space Station, around above the Earth's surface 500 kilometer around. One International Space Station is sending by the NASA, which is continuously revolving around the Earth. It is revolving time period is a 2 hour. Every 2 hour it will be completing one revolution of the earth. How? Because it is attracting towards why it is not goes in the universe in the outside to the solar system. Why it is still it is in the orbit where earth it revolving. Earth's revolutions comes into pictures because of the gravitational force. Every body having field under the gravitational force. It's play a key role in a large scale phenomena of universe. It is a very large scale of phenomena happening, such as formations of the evolutions of star, where the gravitational force belong from where it till where the stars are formed, the galaxies and galactic cluster. These are the very big thing for you. Your mind capacity is not imagine even what is galactical cluster. I can give the understanding of its galaxy formations from the galactic cluster. There is a group of star is making the galactic cluster. There is a galaxies. It means number of galaxy. I showed that one picture in above some part. But still this is about the gravitational force. And now we go for the second, electromagnetic force, which is very important in the physics. Electromagnetic force is always between charge particle. So in this force, neutral will not come into pictures. This is a very important point for us. Okay, So let's start. In the simpler case, when the charges are at the rest, the force is given by the Coulomb's law. And Coulomb's law is nothing but a very famous law for the explaining the charge, explaining the force between the two charge. Whether this charge can be positive or charge can be negative. If both are positive charge, they are always repel each other, and this is the what the figure shows you. Two charge is positive negative, then it is repelling. Two positive, it's repelling, but the positive negative is always attracting. This is explained by the Coulomb's. Attracting and unlike, you can read also by pausing the video. Charge is in motion. If it is in rest, then it is likewise. But if it is in the motion, the magnetic effect and magnetic field gives rise. This is we seen in electric motor and electric generator in the 10th class. The current is nothing but the flow of electron. Flow of electron is the electron, nothing but the charge in motion. They produce the magnetic effect. Yes or no? Yes, they are interfering the permanent magnetic field and they fight each other. Then we got a rotation of the armature. This is what we showing. Electric and magnetic effects are in the general, it is inseparable. Where electric field is there automatically magnetic field is the come into picture. Wherever you have magnetic field, you may enter the electric field. So that's why we combine the word which is electromagnetic force. The force due to the electric field and magnetic field, or electric force or magnetic force. Like the gravitational force and electromagnetic force are act over a very large distance and does not need any interacting medium for that. There, if the two charges very far apart, if there is no medium between it, no need to medium. So there is a no needed medium kind of forces. Okay, impedance is strong compared to the gravity, and this is very important part for the exam point of view and MCQ point of view. Electric force between two proton, for example, is 10 to the power 36 times than the gravitational force between them. This I am explaining in extra at the last slide of the present discussion. But yes, the electric force is a very strong than the gravitational force. How much time in the case of proton? 10 to the power 36 times. This can be askable in the MCQ. And how the 36 only comes, I will show you in the number way in the last slide. This is what we have, the picture of the electromagnetic force. The force between the positive charge and negative charge. This is the alpha particle and beta particle is not for you. Since the electromagnetic force is a much stronger than the gravitational force, is the dominating all the phenomena of the atomic and molecular physics. Whatever the phenomena which is occurring at the atomic and molecular level is all are governed under the electromagnetic force. The forces are like operating in the nuclear state. There are two forces are there. We shall see at the nuclear scale, which is the weak nuclear force and strong nuclear force in the next discussion. Thus, in the mainly the electromagnetic force that governs structures of atom and molecules. What you are seeing, the structure of atoms and molecules, now just like sphere and then what particular shape, it's due to this force. This force is bind it. The dynamics of the chemical reactions, mechanics, thermals, and the property of the material, which is this is a high level for you, but whatever the physics which are occur with the material science is the new to this force. So if we understand this force, so we can solve the material science, hold the field of the physics by the just understanding of this force. So this is a very important thing. The underlying the microscopic force of tension, frictions, normal forces, spring forces, etc. There is a lot of kind of forces. Macroscopic forces are due to the responsible for the electromagnetic. So these are the force are driven force, but the electromagnetic force is the fundamental force. So there is only four fundamental force: gravitational, electromagnetic, weak nuclear, strong nuclear. We are continue with the electromagnetic force. Gravity is always attractive. Now I am comparing the gravitational force and electromagnetic. Gravitational force is always attracting in nature. The electromagnetic force are the attracting, also can be negative or repulsive also. Why? Because electromagnetic in this sense, if we have a two charge, it can be similar or it can be different. If it is similar, there it is repulsion. If it is opposite in the scenario, it will be attracting. Another way I can say the mass is only have one variety. Sorry, there is no kind of a negative sense. But in our electromagnetic force, we have a charges. The charge can be negative also, it can be positive also, but it can be negative also in the electron sense. Yeah, so this is the difference between them. This is what makes all the difference between the gravitational force and electric force. The matter is the mostly the whatever the matter you are seeing, which is electrically always neutral. Why? Because the number of electron and number of proton will be the always same in the all the matters. This electric force is largely zero in all matters, but the gravitational force is dominating in a terrestrial phenomena. This is very important. Electric force is manifest itself to the atmosphere. Electric force you can see in atmosphere, because the atmosphere we have a gases. Gases are ionized, and ionization of the gases which are present in a atmosphere, this is only the reason of the lightning also in this monsoon time. This is the at the last slide what I am showing you, the how the 36 time is comes into pictures. This is a Fg, it is a gravitational force due to the 2 proton. This is a electric force. I am taking electric force ratio of gravitational force. The r square will be cancelled out, then rest of the term it is a k q1 q2 g m1 m1. K is then 9 into 10 to the power 9. I am ignoring the 9 number, so 10 to the power I am showing you 10 to the power 9. The q1 is the 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, so I am 1.6 I am ignoring, 10 to the power minus 19 I am using. q2 is also same because the proton is still there, 10 to the power minus 19. G is the some order 6 point something is there, and 10 to the power minus 11 is there, so I am using the power. M1, mass of the proton is equal to some 1.6 10 to the power minus 27 is there, so this is a minus 27 and minus 27 again. If you solve this, you will get 10 to the power minus 29, 10 to the power minus 65, and then if you just convert it, 10 to the power 36 since it comes, then the Fg is if your Fg rise on this front side, then the electric force is the 36 times than the gravitational force. This is the way on which the 36 comes into the pictures. Thank you very much for the today's discussion. Any of the discussed part, if you have any kind of query, you can write in comment section and show the like button, so I can understand whatever the way I am representing to you is you like. Please do any like or comment, so I can motivate from your side. Thank you very much.